Things are not looking good for Marvel at all. They released Captain America Brave New World earlier this year. It lost money at the box office. They recently released Thunderbolts. It was, the second, third worst performing Marvel Cinematic Universe film of all time when you factor in inflation. They're about to release Ironheart. They're dumping 3 episodes at the same time. Likely going to be a massive failure. We also just found out that Daredevil Born Again didn't even chart on the Nielsen charts for any of the weeks that it released. Total disaster. People were not watching it. And now, one of the Marvel executives is claiming that the reason that they didn't do second seasons for a number of their Disney Plus shows is because it costs too much to pay the actors in those shows. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. And Brad Winderbaum, Marvel's head of streaming television and animation, claimed that the reason Marvel's Disney Plus shows typically do not receive second seasons is because the cast's costs are too high. He told the Hollywood Reporter that a number of Disney Plus shows, such as WandaVision, Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, and others, did not get second seasons because of these high cast costs. He says, producing shows with marquee names, it made it really challenging to produce second seasons. The margins on TV are smaller. So there is a lot to unpack there. But before we get into some of that stuff, we have to point out that these comments come in the wake of Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, revealed he turned down a second season of Hawkeye because Disney did not want to pay him the same rate as the first season. In fact, he revealed they tried to cut his pay in half. He said this, they asked me to do a season 2 and they offered me half the money. And I'm like, wow, it's going to take me twice the amount of work for half the amount of money. And so 8 months of my time, essentially, and I have to do it for half. I'm like, I'm sorry. Why? Because you think I'm only half the Jeremy because I got ran over? Maybe that's why you want to pay me half of what I made on the first season. And he then goes on and says, and this is not Marvel. This is just like Disney. Not even really Disney. It's just the penny pitchers, the accountants. I told them to go fly a kite. I mean, just at the insult offer. So we didn't see eye to eye on that. Clearly, it is indeed Marvel. It is indeed Disney. Given the fact that we now have the Marvel executive, Brad Winderbaum, saying that producing shows with marquee names, such as Jeremy Renner, it made it really challenging to produce second seasons. The margins on TV are smaller. And I think those margins are getting smaller by the day because, as I said, the Daredevil Born Again show did not chart on Nielsen's top 10, streaming a single week when it initially aired on Disney Plus. That is the worst we've ever seen a Marvel show do on Disney Plus, but it is part of a trend that we've seen of these shows performing worse and worse and worse. Because before Daredevil Born Again, we had Agatha All Along. It was only able to attract 426 million minutes in its opening week. It would manage to garner 744 million minutes the week of its season finale. However, it released 2 episodes that week, so it had double the actual amount of time that you would be watching. So it would have obviously had more minutes accrued. We go back to January 2024. It dumped all 6 episodes of Echo onto Disney Plus, and it only attracted 731 million minutes watched. It did not chart after its first week. The second season of Loki only brought in 446 million minutes for its premiere. That was significantly down from the first season's premiere, which brought in 731 million minutes watched. So you can see there was a massive decline in the number of minutes watched from some of those earlier Marvel shows to the shows that they have recently been releasing. It is a trend that has been on the decline. And that is important because, as I say even further down here, is that Disney Plus subscriber counts have actually gone up while Marvel viewing minutes have gone down. So I think that makes it pretty clear that Disney Plus subscribers are not signing up for Marvel, given that Marvel shows viewerships are in decline. And we have to point this out too. I think there's a little bit more to this. I think it's not just that these actor costs are too much. I think the entire shows have massive inflated budgets and they're not getting any return. They're not getting people subscribing. They're not actually getting revenue for these shows. And this is why The Acolyte was canceled. Disney co-chairman Alan Bergman told Vulture, so as it relates to Acolyte, we were happy with our performance, but it wasn't where we needed to be given the cost structure of that title, quite frankly, to go and make a season 2. So that's the reason why we didn't do that. So sure, it obviously has a cost issue with the talent. I think that is abundantly clear, but the only reason why it has a cost issue is because no one is actually subscribing to Disney Plus to watch these shows. So there isn't any revenue to counteract the cost, right? If you have more revenue to counteract the cost, you would be having a so-called cost issue. I think what they really have is a revenue issue here because no one is actually subscribing to Disney Plus to watch these Marvel shows. And again, I think that because we see Disney Plus subscriber counts going up nearly every single quarter, and every time they release a new Marvel show, viewership is going down. And so much so that now they're not even charting on Nielsen. Below 385 million, I think, was what the lowest was for the week that Daredevil Born Again released its season finale. So really, really bad stuff here. And I don't think they're going to be course correcting anytime soon because they continue to double down on the same storylines, the same type of propaganda that got them to this point in the first place where people have just abandoned them en masse. And I don't think they have the will nor the creative powerhouse there to make any kind of significant changes to the stories that they are telling, and people will continue to tune out, and we won't be seeing many Marvel shows made at all in the near future because they won't even be able to afford to make them, because finally, it does seem like these companies are having to actually shut down these productions because they cannot afford to pay for them anymore. Interestingly, it comes after it was discovered that the government was handing out all of these grants to promote all kinds of this stuff. One wonders if there's stuff that we haven't even discovered yet that was being kind of handed off to these entertainment companies to push a lot of this stuff behind or under the table, I guess is the phrase. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.
Why would you be afraid of the people? Why are you not afraid of God instead of man?